Imagine you're hiking with a friend. He picked you up from your house and brought you to the mountain in his car. While hiking, he fell down and hit his head and knocked himself out, and he's seriously bleeding. So you pick him up and bring him down to the car, grab his keys out of his pocket, and put them in the ignition. That's when you look down and realize that his car is a manual. You don't know how to drive a manual car. Today I'm going to tell you why having the ability to drive a manual car can both be a useful and essential skill to have. Basically what a manual transmission is a transmission on a car where it doesn't automatically shift gears by itself. There's a manual input, which is the stick, and you have to engage the clutch before you can shift gears. And the New York Daily News estimates that an estimated 95% of all cars manufactured in the USA are automatics, and this is because American people don't like to drive manuals. And some reasons for this is, I believe, busy driving habits. We Americans have a lot of things that we like to be doing while we're driving that aren't always legal, like be on your cell phone and texting. And another reason I think is just pure laziness. You don't want to be doing anything while you're driving, you just want to focus on driving. And automatics are less involved than manuals. From a personal experience, once a driver has learned how to drive a manual one time, they remember how to do it the next time they get into a manual vehicle. And I'm not saying that they're always excellent at driving once they're back in a manual vehicle, but they can at least drive it nonetheless. So if it's this easy to learn, then I believe it should be a mandatory part of a driver's license test, and you need to pass it in order to get your license. I don't believe you're fully capable of driving on the roads until you actually learn how to drive manual, because if you just jump, a driver that never has drove a manual in their life, if they just jump into a manual car without learning how to do it, they'll be a risk to themselves as well as others around them. And some of these dangers would be stalling the vehicle. Like imagine you're turning into McDonald's or wherever, and you start to go, you're stopped, and you start to go, and then halfway through the lane, turning left, you stall the vehicle, and a semi-truck is coming the other way and can't stop in time. You're sitting duck. Another risk is improper shifting, which, if you don't select the correct gear, you can destroy the transmission, which will seize the transmission up completely, and you won't be able to move. And starting on hills is another danger of beginner manual drivers, because they're not used to rolling back when the car is in gear, and it could damage a car behind you at the light or stop sign. And I've seen a lot of drivers look down at the gears to try to see what gear they're in, and that takes your eyes off the road, and it can be very dangerous to other drivers. So once you learn how to drive a manual and you fully understand how a clutch works, then the possibilities can only increase. Your ability to drive other vehicles increases, and you'll be able to drive such vehicles like dirt bikes, tractors, and manual vehicles. As you can see, learning to drive manual vehicles can only bring you benefits. There are no visible downfalls to learning how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. It will broaden your horizons as far as your driving experiences. So I've told you about the dangers of not being capable of driving a manual vehicle, and why I think it should be required to pass a driver's license test, and the benefits that it can provide. Now, if you don't know how to drive a manual already, go out there and learn today in a safe environment with an educated peer. I promise it'll be worth your while. Thank you.